We are kicking off the 2019 session here in the Cedar Creek Room, which this fall overwent what was long overdue work to take care of some plaster issues and paint issues. We're starting out here looking at the skylights, which today we don't have the sunniest day. It's awfully snowy out there, but the skylights for the first time in decades were actually fully cleaned. We went up into the space above, and we had a couple of staff members. The folks that did this room are actually the same group that did the gilding of the dome here over the summer, and that's something that we'll focus on a little bit in a future episode here. But the skylights were wiped down from this side. Folks went up inside the actual chambers where the skylights are and did a full clean there. So you can't see it today, but if you do come through on a more sunny day, they're beautiful. They really show through. The colors are very bright and vibrant, and it's something we haven't seen in probably 10 or 20 years in terms of how much more vibrant they are, getting the dust and some of those pieces off. The big issues that were addressed here in the Cedar Creek Room, if anyone had walked through in the last couple of years, probably noticed paint peeling on the ceiling here. It had been close to 30 years since this space was renovated and brought back to its 1880s glory, and so we were much overdue for some touch-up work. So plaster work was done, repainting was done after that, much more extensive than we had originally anticipated, which actually was great. They not only took care of those pieces on the ceiling, but the beautiful stenciling that covers the room here in many areas was touched up, and the areas on some of these stencils actually do have Dutch metal gold, so they are gold leafed as well. It's a bit different gold than what we use on the dome, but it is a type of gold. And so we actually had the same folks that gilded the dome went through and touched up and re-leafed some of these intricate stencils. And again, these stencils go back to the 1880s when this room was transformed from the State Library to the Cedar Creek Reception Room. They went through something like 11 layers of paint when the renovation happened here to get down to the original stenciling and to reproduce that. So we were very, very lucky to have the same group, Evergreen from New York City, that had done this 3 decades ago, be able to come in and do not just the touch-up paint and to match the paint, which took some time to match these colors, but to get down to the nitty-gritty, really difficult work of that gilding work in the stenciling, which is no easy task. So this room, we're hoping will last another 30 years again now, looking nice and new, and it was again much overdue. And so if you do come to the State House and wander through the Cedar Creek Room, take an extra couple seconds to kind of look around, appreciate how the room looks now, and especially if it's a day with a little bit of sunlight and no snow covering the skylights on top, take a good look at the skylights, because they certainly do have a new vibrancy to them. So we're very excited to have this space back to what it is and what it should be.
Welcome to the People's House. It is a tremendous honor to accept the gavel and to stand before you. Thank you for your confidence again in me to serve you and to serve our state for another term as Speaker of the House. Thank you to my constituents in the Champlain Islands and Milton who have entrusted me once again to serve our communities in this incredible and breathtaking body. I'm grateful for my family that's here today, my wonderful parents, my patient partner, my very favorite and only sister and brother-in-law, and most of all, for my very smart, very fun, and very entertaining nieces and nephew, 2 of whom are visiting for the first time. Off-script side note, they don't know that it's not required to be a representative to serve as Speaker, because I'm worried that one of them is going to run herself one day. She probably could beat me. I look around this chamber and I see many, many new faces. It is wonderful to have you here. Welcome. I hope that you grow to cherish and deeply respect this place, this institution, and especially the many Vermonters that contribute to our work here. Elected officials from across state government and the staff that serve them, our incredible State House staff, the independent press, state workers, and the many people participating in our shared government for work, for passion, or both. Our human-scaled and accessible democracy is a shining feature of our brave state, and no matter your party or your independent status, we are all here because we want Vermont to succeed, and making that happen takes a lot of teamwork. And essential to that team are caucus leaders who do a tremendous amount of work behind the scenes to make sure that their members are informed and prepared and ready to serve. To the minority leaders, Patty McCoy and Robin Chestnut-Tangerman, your team, and to your teams, congratulations on being selected by your caucuses to serve. You have a vital role in bringing a range of perspectives to the table, and I'm committed to working together to make sure that all voices are heard. We cannot leave this state without you. The Majority Leader Jill Krowinski and her team, who will help lead our chamber over the next 2 years, I deeply appreciate your partnership, your integrity, and the many, many hours you put in. All of those qualities speak volumes to your character and your commitment to the state. And on behalf of our state, I want to extend thanks to not only all of you, but to your families and friends who have agreed to share, perhaps more than they know, to share you with all of us and with Vermont for the next 2 years. Their support is crucial. Please thank them, please lean on them, and know that they are appreciated. Running for office and stepping forward to participate in public service is never easy, and far too often we are seeing public servants become targets of hate. We saw this ugly side of public service unfold over the last several years with the harassment and threats of one of our own, former Representative Kaya Morris, who experienced these threats towards her person and her family and made a decision to serve the state in a different way. We will miss her voice. I hope you will join me this session to embrace civility, inclusivity, and respect. We have much to do to ensure that all voices are at the table in the crucial discussions we have, and to carefully look at the rules and systems of our society to make sure that they are equal and just. This work will start with taking a hard look at how our education system can adopt better ethnic and social equality standards. I ask you to join me in a commitment to ensure that all Vermonters have a voice in their government, and that the policies we craft ensure that we have a Vermont that works for all of us, not just a select few. There's a reason that people come here, and there's a reason that people stay. I believe that together we're building a Vermont where our families and communities can thrive, and the Vermont dream is accessible to everyone. As legislators, it's our job to look at the cogs and the wheels around us and to see which pieces need to be redesigned for better outcomes. When we rewrite those rules so that families can care for and support themselves, we boost the economy. We build stronger, healthier communities. Every Vermonter should have the opportunity to have a job that pays the bills, or start a business of their own, to be able to access high-quality health care, to get a great education, and to retire with dignity and security. When our economic policies are strong, diverse, and inclusive, families are empowered to support themselves, and aging Vermonters can live with dignity and respect. Too many Vermonters are struggling to care for themselves and support their families. Making paid leave accessible to everyone as part of a job, gradually creating opportunities for increased wages, increased training, increased opportunities, and ensuring equal access for all will improve the lives of working Vermonters It will put more money into Vermont businesses. It will help our communities to thrive. Each of these policies support local households and strengthens our collective economy for a better Vermont. Despite the significant efforts from legislators across the political spectrum, the rural-urban divide continues to challenge our state. Conversations with legislatures in other rural states reveal the same difficult trends nationwide. While Vermont's economy is working for some, it's not working as well as it needs to in our rural spaces. Access to high-speed internet and cell service is essential to worker opportunities, to small business startups, to selling a particular property, and even to submitting a child's homework. There's enthusiasm. We must create a plan and a toolbox to expand access. In addition to our high-tech needs, our rural economy depends on agriculture. Most people have no idea of the millions of dollars every day that dairy brings into our state, of the number of jobs and the secondary economic activity created across our very diverse agricultural sector. We need robust voices for agriculture and for our rural economies, not only in the Ag and Forestry Committee, but across all areas of jurisdiction throughout the building. We have to do more to make sure that we have a strong, diverse rural economy and agricultural sector moving forward. And we have to ensure that our successes touch every corner of our state. We need to problem solve together and expand opportunities for all of Vermont. Climate change is another area that threatens our economy and the Vermont way of life, not only in the agricultural sector, but in our ski industries, and of course our tourism dollars that come from a wide variety of snow sports, our changing leaves and pleasant summers. More than once in this last decade, our communities and our infrastructure, our roads and bridges have weathered what we thought were 100-year storms, and yet they are reoccurring at a much more frequent rate. We cannot ignore the opportunity to make progress that could impact generations to come. Our public schools are the bedrock of our Vermont communities, and they provide our children the opportunity to reach their potential and succeed in life. With additional demands placed on our schools from addiction, mental illness, poverty, great public schools in our communities are more important than ever in giving all children a fair shot at a bright future. And when those children leave school, they need a variety of pathways moving forward to continue on to higher education, to build their trades training opportunities, to create business startups, growing and developing a workforce that is the envy of the nation. While I know that there are many more issues facing us, all the issues that were on your palm cards, all the issues Vermonters spoke with you about when you knocked on their doors, we could go on and on and on in this initial session, just listing them, but more important than that is to get started on the work before us. We have an incredible opportunity in the next 2 years, and I am asking each of you, when you get into your committee work, to focus on the questions before you. Dive into understanding the dynamics at play affecting our communities. Ensure that all dissenting voices are heard and that we are working together. And focus on building a stronger, healthier Vermont. Now let's get to work.
Good afternoon, Mr. and Mrs. Vermonter, and to all the canoes on the Passumpsic. I'm Joe Benning. I am a state senator from Caledonia District, You may wonder why I've introduced myself in that little phrase about the canoes on the Passumpsic. That's actually an old Edward R. Murrow introduction where he talked about Mr. and Mrs. America and all the ships at sea. I am serving as the minority leader of the Republican caucus in the Vermont State Senate. At present, I am serving as Vice Chair of Judiciary and as a member of the Education Committee. We have not yet received our committee assignments for this year. That is going to be happening probably sometime tomorrow. But the long and the short of it is we're back for a brand new session, and today is a kind of an exciting day for families and whatnot to come and see people being sworn into their respective offices. It's especially fun to watch the newcomers who are all here with their families and being sworn in for the first time, trying to learn how all these systems work. The Vermont State House is a wonderful place to be. You may have seen that we have a new adornment at the very top with Ceres, our goddess of agriculture, having been recarved. If you haven't had an opportunity to see what she looks like, come on out. It's a great addition to this wonderful building that we all work in. My best piece of advice for anybody walking into the building, just come in and breathe the atmosphere. This is a wonderful historical place to work, and any time that the people want to come and enjoy this building, you are more than welcome. We call it the People's House for a very good reason. Legislative-wise this year, there are a lot of things that are possibly on the table. In the minority leader position, I don't have a whole lot to say about what's coming down the pike. I will be spending a lot of my time trying to work very hard in committees to make sure whatever comes out of committees is as balanced as can possibly be. But the session should be an interesting one, as we have a whole bunch of new faces coming on board and new committee chairs that are taking positions all over the place. So we're going to have a whole new crop of candidates trying to learn the system and work as best they can to handle all the human problems that are created. So until next time, I would welcome your thoughts and your prayers for all of us. We have a very large bit of work in front of us. We hope to all work together and come out still smiling on the other end. So until next time, thanks again for listening.
Hi, this is Representative Tom Stevens. I live in Waterbury and I represent Washington Chittenden District, which includes Bolton, Huntington, and Buell's Gore. I was reelected in November to my 6th term and just recently named to chair the committee that I've been sitting on for the last 10 years, which is the House General Housing and Military Affairs Committee. I'm very honored to take over that chair from Representative Helen Head, who retired this year, and we are just in the process here on the first day of session of reforming those committees, getting to meet the people who are going to be serving on this committee for the next 2 years. We had a very short meeting after the seating was done, where we didn't quite talk about anything that may come across the transom, but we know that in our committee last year we passed some bills, including minimum wage and one for paid family leave, that were vetoed by the governor, and we were unable to override that veto. So we'll be accepting a new version of each of those bills relatively early in the session and getting to them and reworking them and trying to pass them out of the committees of jurisdiction, which includes general as well as ways and means and appropriations and any other committees that they have to go through. Other than that, we don't know exactly what we're going to get in terms of bills yet. It's way too early. It's just the first day of session. We know they'll be coming out. Legislative Council says there's well over 300 bills already in the pipeline that we'll be seeing over the next 5 or 6 weeks get posted. And the other thing of note for our committee that we're going to be dealing with is the National Guard. We have, every 2 years, the legislature is responsible for electing a new adjutant general, and this is the first time in 6 years that there's been a contested race, and there's probably been a changeover in the House of over 50% in the last 6 years, so there's a lot of people who've never voted for an adjutant general in a contested race. So we have some education to do and say, really, what is it we're going to do? Why do we do this? And that's going to be on top of really learning, again, about what the National Guard is able to do in the state and what its responsibilities are. So we've got a full plate. I expect we'll be busy starting on day 3, and we'll be moving quickly through the issues that we have in our portfolio in terms of educating the rest of our members. So looking forward to it and looking forward to getting to work. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Chip Troiano. I've just been elected to my third term in the House of Representatives. I represent Caledonia 2 District, Hardwick, Stannard, and Walden. I live in Stannard, it's a tiny little town in the Northeast Kingdom. I just been transferred to General Housing and Military Affairs Committee. I spent 4 years on the Human Services Committee. The work there was excellent. We had a wonderful chair, and we did some really good work. But I'm looking forward to moving into housing and general military affairs. I'm a veteran. Veterans issues are very important to me, and I'm hoping to move forward on the issues surrounding with housing, homeless veterans, and homeless individuals or Vermonters in general. The other piece is some of the issues that we're starting to see around our Vermont National Guard, and that will come to our committee as well. So I'm hoping to have an impact as vice chair of that committee and move forward and pass some good legislation. Of course, in the general area of the House, what the House will be dealing with, it will be $15 minimum wage. That actually will come through our committee as well. Paid family leave, and a number of other issues that will come around we'll be able to deal with. Of special interest to me is the toxic chemical bill that passed the House and Senate last year, but was vetoed by the governor. As someone who, as a Vietnam soldier who had Agent Orange, dioxin-laden Agent Orange, poured over their base camps and roadsides throughout Vietnam, and veterans died as a result of it, it is a very special issue to me, and I'm hoping now to have a conversation with the governor and to see if I can make an impact on him to reconsider on that bill, because the chemical companies fought redress for those veterans for 12 years. Millions of dollars spent in defending their position rather than helping sick and dying veterans. So it's a very important piece to me. I hope we'll be able to move that forward. And that's about all I can think of right now. So it's great to be back here. It's wonderful to come to work here in this historic building every day. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Representative Ann Pugh from South Burlington. This is the first day of the legislative session. I am so honored to be returned by the voters of South Burlington and to return as chair of House Human Services. We have a lot of work ahead of us this next 2 years, and I'm excited with 4 new committee members. 3 are actually 5 new committee members, sorry. 3 are freshman legislators. And 1 is a legislator who was 1 term before, and then the rest of us are returners. We're going to be working on, I want to say, everything from birth to aging and death. Issues around child care and early care and education, to ensuring that our elders are safe and have a good place to live when they are unable to live at home, to protecting children, and to ensuring that people have the supports, the resources that they need in order to work, play, and live fully in Vermont. Not just a few people, but all Vermonters. So thank you very much. I look forward to talking to you again in the later on in the session, but we're off and running.